great thing about Cratchit is that he's just has such a big heart, and is ever the optimist. And you know, given any kind of given situation with Cratchit, one imagines that his stress level's very low. He sees the good in everything. And the story is fantastic. I mean, it's just a fantastic story. So it's great writing, and the cast is fantastic. So good company. Bob Zemeckis is a great director. So it all fit. Bob Zemeckis' take on it and his interpretation of it. You know, I think he's adapted it very well, and there are new things in the. You couldn't do the ghosts the way he can do. He can do it in this one. So it's an old story, but very much reinterpreted and revamped. Visually, it's going to be like no Christmas Carol you've ever seen. It's a great marriage. This technology just suits this material.
I decided to make Christmas Carol because, first of all, it's a magnificent novel, and the other thing is it's a perfect story for the holidays. It's a perfect story for the times that we're in right now, you know, in the world. Also, it's a movie. It's a story that has never been really realized in a movie the way that I think Dickens intended it when he wrote it. So. With the technology that we have now, I thought, well, maybe we can really finally do the film, the novel justice. The thing that amazes me about Dickens, the writer, more than anything, is how amazingly cinematic he writes. I mean, he was writing before movies weren't going to be invented for another 100 years. And yet, the way he writes is unbelievably cinematic. He writes in cuts. He writes in a complete movie style, and I think he would be, you know, wildly enthusiastic to see what we've done to his story. The movie is about Scrooge, who's this miser who is incredibly selfish. And the thing he hates most in the world is Christmas, because Christmas is a time of giving and charity, and he hates Christmas. So what happens is on the 7th anniversary of his partner's death, he's visited by his ghost. This is the ghost of Marley. And Marley tells him that, you know, he has spent, 7 years traveling the universe, bound in chains, to pay for his selfishness on Earth. So he's arranged for Scrooge to get a reprieve, and it informs Scrooge that he's going to be visited by 3 spirits. Jim did an amazing job with his interpretation of Scrooge. I mean, he really immersed himself in this character like nothing I've ever seen. So yes, Jim, not only is he a great actor, he's a great character actor, and he's got all this wonderful physicality, which really lends itself to performance capture, because performance capture is where, like I said earlier, the whole interpretation of a performance has to be using your entire body, and there's nobody better at doing that than Jim. I always thought that it would be interesting if the ghosts were alter egos of Scrooge, so that they actually were reflections of Scrooge, so they look like Scrooge. Well then, when we're thinking about casting Jim Carrey, who's this magnificent character actor, it became a natural, well, he should play all the ghosts. and then certainly that appeals to, you know, great actors. I mean, to be able to play multiple characters in a movie, why not? That's great. So what it allows us to do, it allows us to cast really good actors. They get to have fun playing a lot of different characters, and it helps us, you know, it helps us make the movie more interesting.